Hello, racing fans, and welcome back to the channel for episode 10 in our Stable Tour series. Really delighted actually this time because it's the first time I've actually ever met yourself, Matt, but really glad to have you on the channel. How's things at the yard?
Yeah, very good. And thank you for inviting me on. It's good. And like every other national hunt trainer, we're looking out the window and looking at our weather apps, praying for it to rain. I've put more miles in walking courses over the last couple of weeks than I care to be doing normally. But as soon as it rains, we're ready to roll.
Anyone would think we're some sort of holiday destination with us all waiting for the rain, but it's not like that, is it? But we definitely need a little bit to soften up the ground and get the runners out. Matt, before we go on to the horses, I mean, loads of people know who you are by now, but just for those who don't, I just want to ask how you settled in with Kim Bailey and how that came around. Really, I'm well aware myself, but just a couple of words on, you're a full license holder with Kim Bailey now, so it's a joint operation, and
Yeah.
how are you finding things?
Yeah, it's great. It's something I've always wanted to do since I got into racing as a young man. I always had a dream of training, and it was only a dream. I did.
They come true though. They do come
They
true.
do.
Yeah.
It could soon turn into a nightmare, but it was a dream anyway. Yeah. Um, yeah. I started with Nigel Twiston Davis. I spent 5 years with Nigel, 5 great years when I was a young lad, and then I went to Tom George, and I spent 6 years as Tom George's head man, which I thoroughly enjoyed as well. And it was time to move on from Tom's. I thought if I don't move now, I'll be here forever. And I was invited down to Lambourne to work for Carl Llewellyn, who had been
Oh wow.
he'd been stable jockey at Nigel's when I was there.
Yeah, I remember, of course.
Yeah, he rode plenty of big winners, and he set up training and invited me down. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and give this a go. And I had a 2 month break between leaving Tom and starting for Carl. So, great friend of mine, Jason Maguire, who was flying at the time, riding loads of winners. I lived with him for sort of a couple of months, and I used to get up in the morning and go riding out with him wherever he was heading. And I came into Kim's a couple of times and met Kim and had a good chat with him. And Kim actually offered me a job, and I said, no, I'm going down to Lambourne. I'm going to go and work for Carl. And he said, you'll hate it. You've been in the Cotswolds too long. And I thought, what the bloody hell would he know, sort of thing, you know. And off I toddled down to Lambourne, and he said, when you get sick of Lambourne, give me a call. And I thought nothing of it. And 6 months later, I was on the phone saying, Kim, any chance of that job still? I've just not settled down here.
Yeah.
Lambourne, when you've been in the Cotswolds a long time, it's a difficult place to leave.
Yes, yes.
Lambourne wasn't for me, and I'd enjoyed my couple of mornings with Kim chatting away in the office and whatever else. So I came down here. I think we worked. It was 18 years ago now. I actually had a look
Wow.
this morning. We were in Pardubice for the Pardubice 15 years ago yesterday.
Wow.
Talk about time flies. Couldn't quite believe it'd been that
Yeah.
long. Yeah, 18 years with Kim now as his assistant, and he always knew I was ambitious and I wanted to train myself at some point, but I never thought I'd get the opportunity. And then when the dual license thing came on the market a few years ago, it seemed the obvious thing for us to do. Nothing much has changed. Perhaps I'm doing a bit more of this,
Yeah,
a bit
yeah.
more media, a bit more press. But Kim and I both know our roles in the yard and in the business, and none of that has changed really. Our owners have
Yes.
always been aware of how we work together,
Do
and it's gone seamlessly so far.
do you gel well with regards to sort of planning and preparation for horses, or have you got different mindsets, but you put them together to make them work well,
I
if that
think that's
makes sense?
probably. I think if we were exactly the same, it wouldn't work, would
Yeah,
it?
okay,
We
fair.
do
Yeah.
have, it's Kim will often be, tell me just slow down a bit. I might get a bit excited, a bit impatient, and he's just like,
Yeah.
come on, Matt, I've been doing this a long time. Just settle down a minute, and things will all find their way. But we work together well. We both know our roles. Everything is discussed. Obviously, the final decision will always rest with Kim.
Mhm.
But everything is discussed. Everything is open on the table, and yeah, we work well together.
That's great. That's great. It's really nice that you've got a good yard to come into and do that as well with some really nice horses. I'll just touch on Chianti Classico. We've just seen the news, obviously, that he's been retired. He obviously had a little bit of a difficult time. Really sad to see the fact that he has retired, but he has been a fantastic horse, hasn't he, for the yard? He must have been he must be a joy just to have around. I know he's not racing now, but
He was
brilliant.
he was a fantastic horse to have in training. He was very straightforward to train. Um, Tried hard, wanted to be a racehorse, which makes an
Mm.
awful big difference. Had loads of ability, which we never got to see the full amount of. Really, I mean, that day at Cheltenham when he won the William Hill, I mean, it was extraordinary. He was the winner everywhere, wasn't he? From the
Yeah,
second
yeah.
stage went up, he never looked like getting beat. Um, And then after Ascot, we went to Cheltenham as sort of, if we'd have won that day at Cheltenham, we'd have been fourth favourite for the Gold Cup.
Yeah, yeah.
The top English horse in the Gold Cup, and in a matter of strides, it was all over. Real shame for his owners, Sir Francis and Sir Richard, who are good supporters of the yard now. They've got a second horse in training with us. But the horse will have a long and happy retirement. They gave him every chance to come back, but as soon as it was obvious that wasn't going to be the case, he was retired immediately, and he'll have a nice, long, happy retirement now in Ireland at Sir Francis's place.
Oh, great. I was going to ask where's he gone next, but I know the injury hasn't been great for him, but is he happy in himself as well? I know.
Yeah, he's a very happy horse. He's still
Stuff.
and he will be able to do plenty in retirement. He's not just going to be stood in the field. So
Oh, that's great news. Great news. Well, look, best of luck and a happy retirement to Chianti Classico. But Matt, he's not the only good horse that you've got in the yard. We're going to go through some now. And if you don't mind, I'd like to start off with the Racing Club horse. Obviously, I'm part of the Racing Club, very proud to be as well. We've got a lovely horse with yourselves called Jukebox King. He won his point at Ballycrystal by 4 lengths, seemed to jump really well, showed a lot of the sort of attributes you'd like to see, I suppose, coming from the point ranks. But how has he been at home, and what do you think of him at this early stage?
yeah, nice horse. We tried to buy him a couple of times, and
Okay.
he'd been over. We tried to buy him the first time he came over, and he pulled a shoe off and couldn't go through the sale ring.
Oh no.
And the boys, they didn't want to sell him outside the ring, so they took him back, and over he came again. And when he came back over, we had another go, and we were lucky enough to get our hands on him. And then when Richard and Tom from the Racing Club came to see us, we showed them to him, and they were really impressed with the way he looked and liked him. His video of his point to point was very impressive first time out. Obviously, Jukebox Jury is all the rage, and now we've lost Jukebox Jury as a
Yeah,
start, so
unfortunately.
they're even more the rage. Jumps well, seems to do his work nicely. He'd be a month off a run still. He'd want some ground. He had a little bit of a wind operation, which set us back a few weeks. But he's working nicely now. Tom Bellamy rode him work on Saturday and was impressed. He's got a little way to go yet. He's not
Yeah.
there yet, but everything he's done so far, he's done nicely.
Yeah, we're really excited to see him because, like you said, that profile from that point, he just showed all those attributes that we were hoping to see. Do you think in time he will be one that's going to make a better chaser than he will a bumper horse or a novice hurdler?
Yeah, very much so. We don't tend to buy horses that aren't going to go on over fences. It's all about your market that you're playing. And if we are spending, let's just say on average, between 50 and £100,000 on a horse, which is a lot of money, but unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things of buying point to pointers isn't, we've got to look at that horse and say, is that horse going to carry top weight over a fence one day in a handicap? Because that's what 90% of horses are going to do. So for longevity wise, that's the type of horse we buy. He's very much going to be a chaser. I'm not going to say 3 miles because I don't know what trip he's going to want at this stage, but he'll go jumping over hurdles straight away. And you'll see him at his best once he's jumping fences without doubt.
Excellent. Thanks very much. We're really excited to see how he gets on this season. We're moving on to a 6-year-old who didn't run this weekend, but it's the Kemble Brewery. Won both of his bumper starts. He won twice over hurdles as well. He seems to be really exciting. Does he need a little bit of cut in the ground, Matt? Ideally, or is it?
Yeah, safe winter ground.
Yeah. Okay.
Safe winter ground. We declared him at Chepstow on Saturday, but the second we got there on Friday, he was never going to run. I actually walked the course earlier in the week, and I just thought if they keep pouring water on, they might make this safe ground, and if it's safe, we'll have a go. So we declared him, but the second we got there, that was never going to happen. He has a huge reputation. The form of his novice hurdle win at Worcester, I mean, a blind man could read it. It's incredible the way that race worked out. And therefore 129 looks to be a fair handicap mark. Bred to jump fences, he's scored nicely, and he's very much ready to go once we get safe ground. He's a horse that should progress through the handicap ranks. I'm not convinced he needs to go up in trip,
Okay.
Pedigree would suggest he's a stayer. He's a very quick horse.
Okay.
He may end up going over further, but at the minute, we're happy to stay at 2 miles and see what happens.
What was there any outcome for his run in the EBF final? That obviously wasn't the best of him. We saw how good he was when he beat Duran Khan and then how he ran against Meet Me by the Sea. And Meet Me by the Sea finished second in that EBF final. But we know that wasn't the true Kemble Brewery. Did anything come to light, or just wasn't quite right on the day? It's just me being curious.
We set the poor horse an impossible task trying to give a stone to Meet Me by the Sea at Ludlow, first of all, didn't we? And no, he made a bit of a noise that day. So he's had a wind operation since. And, I think that's what the reason he's gone. He's cruised into the race 3 out, jumped 2 out on the bridle, and he's pulled up before the last. I mean, horses don't stop that quickly unless there's a bit of an issue. So we found a little issue with his win that we've addressed, and hopefully that's behind him now, and he can go, carry on progressing through the ranks.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We're going to move on. We just mentioned Chianti Classico there. The owners have got a lovely horse. One of my favourites in your yard, actually, Matt. I've always had a bit of a liking to Draco Malfoy. Now, he did win a point on soft, and he was beat in. He won a point on good ground. Sorry. And he was beating his 3 bumpers, but I can't help but think soft ground and a little bit of just experience is going to bring out the best of him. These Harzand horses do strike me like they're really going to need some sort of deep ground to handle it well. But because he won his point to point on good ground, it just makes me question that at the same time. But how's he been at home, and what sort of expectation can we have from him going hurdling this season?
Yeah, I think he's quite a popular horse. I think it's probably the name that's as
It
eye-catching,
might be.
isn't it? It's the amount of people that ask about Draco Malfoy. It's incredible. He's
Very
not.
likable.
He is a very likable horse. He's not overly big. Don't get me wrong, he'll go jumping fences, but he's not a huge horse like some of the Harzands I've seen. But because of that, we probably didn't think he was probably a bit more immature last season than we thought. Okay. He ran well in bumpers without getting his head in front. Yes. He certainly didn't disgrace himself. He'll go jumping hurdles this year. His schooling's been excellent. He really likes up for a flight of hurdles. And as you've said, a trip, slightly slower ground, and a hurdle. And I think you'll see a progressive horse this year. We like him a lot. His work has been good. And again, once we get some slower ground, he's ready to roll.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Like you said, he ran really well in defeat. Sorry, just to clarify, I wasn't saying he got beaten in a battle. He did run really good races, and very, very excited to see him go forward. Again, you've got some really likable horses here. You've got a 5-year-old called Moon Rocket. Won first 2 over hurdles, then placed in 2 grade 1s as well last season.
Grade 2s.
Grade 2, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, and then ran in the grade 1 at Aintree. Again, he just looks like he's just going to start progressing through his count, again with experience.
Yeah, I mean, he again, he's not the biggest horse we've ever trained. He's slightly caught between 2 stalls. He's got a mark of 132, and so if he runs in a beginner's chase, there's going to be horses rated £10 or so higher than him. And in handicaps, he's going to be going into 0 to 130s, 0 to 135s with top weight first time. So we toyed with the idea of staying over hurdles with him. Okay. And then we gave him a school over fences, and he was electric. So we said, right, that's the answer. But whether we go, we're going to have to go handicapping because of his mark. And again, he wants slow ground. Okay. So as soon as the rain comes, he's another one that will be ready to go. He was my first winner with my name on the license.
Oh, so fantastic.
Our first runner on January the 1st. And in he went at Southall, which was sort of my hometown ground as well as so that was all very exciting. Unlucky at Doncaster.
Yes.
Another day he might have got it in the steward's room. Had he jumped the last that day, he probably would have won anyway. He just missed the last, maybe a lack of concentration and experience. And then at Haydock, yeah, maybe he ran a little bit flat that day at Haydock. Got outpaced and then ran on. Never really looked like winning the race, but again, still second in a grade 2, so it's not too bad, is it? And by the time we got to Aintree, he'd had a long old season, and it was a bit much. So nice horse, should progress up the ranks, probably in the handicap chases.
He's very likable and looks quite an easy ride for the most part. Is he easy to train as well? Does that
very straightforward? Well, the lads wouldn't say that. He tries to book them off every morning, and that's when he's ready to go. He goes down the hill to the gallop with his head between his legs. You're like, right, okay, here we go. But doesn't pull, travels nicely, stays. He'll win races over fences this winter for sure.
Excellent. Destroy the Evidence finished 3rd at Chepstow over the weekend, Matt. We know he's probably a little bit better than that. How has he come out of the race? Is he well in himself?
Yeah, he's well in himself. I mean, he's got that one piece of form first time out last year where he beat Horticolange. And on paper, that looks fantastic. But I mean, I'd say we were a fair bit straighter that day than Rebecca Curtis's horse would be my guess.
Okay. Gave him £7 as well. You gave
him £7 as well. Well, I mean, that puts us in graded categories if that's real form, So I think realistically, we were probably more ready for the day and didn't progress quite as well as we'd expected. Didn't fire around Cheltenham next time, whether that was the course or he wasn't quite right. And then he was unfortunate, at Warwick, he just didn't quite get it done. And at Ludlow again, he flying at the death and got beaten neck again. So he's a horse that knows how to win. I mean, I think he's a 5-time winner. And I think a long distance handicap chase this year, regional nationals, that sort of thing.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. He looks the sort, he does look like the sort.
regional nationals where he can take his time and warm his way into a race. And I think there'll be a decent prize in him this winter.
Fantastic. A bit of a legend in the yard. 10-year-old, does he know? Loves Chepstow, loves Cheltenham, over £200,000 prize money. He reminds me actually a little bit like Chianti Classico sort of thing. When he's in the mood, they just love to race. Bowl him along out front, get them jumping, and almost like they do the work for you sort of thing. A really, really likable horse. How has he been over the summer? He's getting on
Yeah,
a bit, but plenty talented, isn't he?
he's plenty talented. He's been a real good horse. He's had an awful lot of racing.
Hmm.
And, interestingly enough, the two eldest horses in the yard, himself and Two for Gold, are still the worst behaved on a morning.
Oh wow, I didn't expect
They
that.
love life, the pair of them. Yeah, he's good. He's got his aches and pains that we have to manage now. But as I say, he's got an awful lot of miles on the clock, but he still very much wants to be a racehorse. We would like to get him to the Veterans Final in January if possible.
Excellent.
Haven't really decided about what route we're going to take to get there. The handicap was very tough on him, and he took an awful long time to come down last year. You know, he was carrying top weight every time he ran, and he kept finishing fourth and third, and the handicap never relented. And then at the end of the season, he's dropped him a few pounds, so he's on a competitive mark now, and hopefully we can pick up some money in those veterans chases somewhere.
With a horse like Does, you mentioned obviously in January you'd like to get to the Veterans Final. Is it basically just a stepping stone towards getting him primed effectively for that one big day? Obviously, you'd like to win prize money along the way. Again, this is more curiosity than anything.
You want to protect your mark, don't you? You don't want to go and
yeah.
But with him being rated over 140 anyway,
So yeah, okay.
at that level, he's going to pick up some prize money.
Sure.
You know, and he'll be ready to run, and he'll do his best, and we'll find our way, and we'll try and pick up some prize money along the way somewhere.
Fantastic. And Two for Gold, just as you mentioned, a 12-year-old now, still absolutely loves his racing.
Absolutely loves life and loves Ascot.
Excellent. Okay.
Ascot is his place. So he will start off at the first Ascot meeting, probably in the race that Chianti won last year.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
If he can pinch a bit of prize money and keep enjoying himself, his owners have a box at Cheltenham, Cheltenham at Ascot, I should say. So it works that their horse loves it there so much. And we'll see how he gets on up till Christmas and New Year when he turns 13. And you know, if he's still loving life, we can make decisions then.
Yeah, because he's running like he's a 7 or 8-year-old. He just seems to really enjoy himself.
Yeah.
You've got some nice new recruits this year. In fact, actually, let's stick with we mentioned Does He Know? You've got a half brother now, a 4-year-old called So You Know. Chucked him right in the deep end over at Punchestown in his first start. And to be honest, he was beaten 20 lengths, but I think that was a pretty fair introduction in such a hot race. And what can you tell me about him, Matt?
He's certainly got the family traits. He's got a bit of attitude about himself, and he likes to show you who's the boss on a morning. He's actually just away schooling with Jason Maguire at the minute.
Okay.
He jumps very, very nicely, and he won't take an awful lot of getting ready. You know, he's done a bit of work before he went away, and when he comes back, he won't take 5 minutes to get ready. Ran nicely enough at Punchestown, got a little bit lost in the big field, but ran home well. And Gina was quite positive about him after the race. We've always liked him. When he was bought from the Arkle sale, he was sold to the syndicate with, come on, let's go back to Punchestown and have a day out. He could have run at Ludlow the week before for £2,000 and a 6-runner field, but we bought him with the intention of going and having a nice time at Punchestown and letting the syndicate have a fun weekend away. Yeah. And the horse didn't let them down. He ran a respectable race and showed he had a future. So, yeah, he'll go straight over hurdles this winter, and he's one we're looking forward to. As I say, he works and schools nicely, and he'll be up to winning races. And again, he'll be a chaser along the way.
Yeah, excellent. All credit to you and the team for sending him over. It was really nice, especially like you said, he ran a good race and he's come back with plenty of potential for this season. You've got a really nice French recruit, actually, Matt, as well, called Leo Wood. He was third on his only start for Noel George and Amanda Zetterholm. Only beaten 2 lengths, but that winner was a previous AQPS winner. Since then, the second has joined Skelton's, the 5th one next time out, but Leo Wood was sort of 5-6 lengths clear of that next time out winner. A little bit excited about this fella. Does he show you that sort of thing at home as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, took a little bit while to come to hand. But the French, they train on the flat. It would be a completely different type of training regime to what we've got over here. So took a little while to get used to the hill and his new surroundings and whatever else. Okay. He's really warmed into it now, and every bit of work he's done has been very impressive. Each piece has been better than the last bit. Jumps fantastically well, very quick and accurate over his hurdles. Again, you expect this with the French horses. And he's a horse we're excited about. We'd like to start him off at one of the nicest, what you would call the bigger tracks, whether it be Cheltenham, Ascot, Newbury, something like that. But we just need rain. He's another one that's ready to go. looks the part, and he's an exciting horse going forwards for sure. We just want to drop a rein so we can crack on with him now.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I advise everyone listening just to chuck him in your tracker as well. Just keep an eye on his progress. He really did catch my eye that day as well. Um, a lovely horse that you've got called Step Ahead. He finished fifth in the bumper behind Wind Beneath My Wings at Ascot.
Third,
Um,
third.
third, sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah, I shouldn't have did him a disservice there, but that race could turn out to be really strong. Is does his homework match what he showed that day on the track?
Yeah, very much so. He's a walk in the park,
Yes,
and
lovely.
see, Don Cantillon had him in Newmarket. He went through the ring at the Cheltenham sale unsold, and we went and bought him privately for Phil
Oh,
Andrews.
okay.
He was quite hot as the walk in the parks on. He's taken a while to settle down and get into our way of doing things now. But again, schools very, very well. I think he won a trip and slow
Okay.
ground. And his bumpers suggested that, didn't they? Both times he was staying
Yes.
late and he gallops through the line very strongly. That Ascot bumper has begun to work out quite nicely. Money Garrow, who was just in front of him, finished third
Hmm.
Persian War, I think.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, stayed really well, really well.
Yeah, so that level of form is quite good. And again, as soon as we get slow ground, he's ready to go. He's a horse that we like a lot. He'll be progressive through the year, I think, as he goes up in trip and eventually when he jumps fences. But should be an exciting horse for this winter.
What's he like physically, Matt, as well? Is he size wise?
He'd be a big chasing type, probably not
Okay,
as heavy as some of the other horses.
okay.
He wouldn't carry as much condition as some of the other horses. But he's probably the best doer in the yard. So
Oh, excellent.
good for him. He's got a good constitution. As I say, slow ground and a trip, and he's ready to roll.
Fantastic. You've got a nice 5-year-old called Homemade Hero by Westerner. Disappointing in his first two, but then he bolted up in his last point to point. Again, I don't know how much work you would have done with these sort of pointers at this stage.
So we bought him at I still call it the Hennessy sale. It shows how old we are.
Yeah.
Coral Gold Cup sale, is it now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We bought him there last year, just before Christmas, and after he'd won his point to point, and he looked like he'd had a hard time. When I say
Okay.
that's unfair. He looked like he'd been in training. He needed a bit of
Okay.
TLC.
So that's something you notice when these pointers come in. You can
But,
generally see, or you can feel
yeah, but
instinctively if they've done.
these horses, these 4-year-olds that are running point to points, these guys are selling them, and these
Yes,
guys
of
are,
course.
these point to point trainers in Ireland. They're not farmers anymore, are they? These guys are proper trainers who would
Yes,
do and do well on the track. You're not really improving these horses from them fitness or
sure.
anything wise. It's just giving them time and physically wise. So he looked like he'd had a race, and we thought we'd get some condition on him and give him a nice time with it, and give him a bit of a break, which we did, and we had him back sort of late January, but we never really had any intention of running him. His
Okay.
own wouldn't be particularly keen on bumpers anyway, we certainly didn't want to go after over fences that time of year. Sorry, over hurdles that time of year. So we just gave him a nice break and trained him a bit. He's come in this year. He's had an away day. We took
Okay.
we took him over to Lambourne for a gallop up the back of the hill a couple of weeks ago. That went very nicely. Just lost a little bit of condition for that, so maybe his constitution isn't that strong.
Okay.
But what he did show was an awful lot of ability. He galloped very well. He put his head down and tried. He travelled well, jumps very well. He does have a bit of a reputation, the horse. There were a couple of guys in Ireland a few weeks back asking about him when we went over there, which is always
Okay.
nice.
Nice.
And his owner's a big lover of Westerner. He had Rocky's Treasure and Bob Hope or No Hope, who won several races between them.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he's in that sort of mold. So nice horse, might not run as much as some of the others this winter, but hopefully was up to winning a novice hurdle before going chasing.
Excellent. What sort of horse do you like, Matt? Do you like sort of like 2 mile speed horses, or do you prefer staying chasers, or have you not really got a preference? Just
Yeah.
personally, really, more than anything.
Whatever our last winner was, I tend to like, to be quite
Yeah.
honest.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Say no
But
more. Say no more.
we'll try and train anything. But as I said to you earlier, when you are in the market that we tend to shop in, you've got to look for longevity, which
Sure.
means horses
Okay.
with a bit of size, a bit of stamina. They're going to jump fences and they're going to carry a big weight because, whether we like it or not, 9 horses out of 10 are going to end up as handicappers.
Yes.
And they're probably going to end up carrying top weight over fences. So, those big chasing types are what Kim Bailey has always been known for. And I don't see any reason to try and change that.
Okay. Perfect. Well, speaking of big chasers, you've got a nice horse that's probably going to go that way as well. Gatineau Park, by Walk in the Park, won by 10 lengths at Ballycrystal. He won on the same day as Jukebox King, so I think you got two from
That's
that
right.
day. But again, nice big Walk in the Park type. Probably one for chasers down the line, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm probably getting a bit repetitive now, aren't
No,
I?
that's okay. We like to know. We
Slow
like to
ground,
know.
slow ground and fences. He's a beautiful horse, big grey horse, steel
Oh,
grey, really,
gorgeous. Lovely.
really eye catching. Again, the walk in the parks can be quite hot, so we've just taken our time with him and got him to switch off. And he might be a bit of a slow burner. You might just find that he needs a couple of races to learn how to relax and to race. Because as I say, he was very keen in the early days, and he's not the quickest horse, so everything was a bit of a rush. But jumps very nicely and he's ready to go. He was in at Worcester on Wednesday, but I went and walked it this morning. And it was just a little bit quick for him, so we're going to have to wait a bit longer. But he's a horse we really like, and he won't be at his best till he's over fences. But again, should give his owners a lot of fun this winter.
Perfect. And one more I'm going to ask you about is Sonia in Grand. Again, you got some lovely sort of new recruits into the yard this season, which really good to see. Again, what can you tell me about him at this early stage, Matt?
Yeah, he was an English point to point winner. Sam Drinkwater, who trains a few on the road, he was trained by his brother and won an English point to point. By Dartmouth, I'm not sure how many winners Dartmouth had at this stage. He's an English stallion. Goes very nice. He looks the part, hits the ground very hard. Tom
Okay,
Bellamy put in work on Wednesday and just said, you don't need to be thinking about doing anything with this for a few weeks yet. He wants he's a
sure.
proper winter horse, and he might just see fences sooner rather than later.
Okay.
But a nice horse, good attitude, and he's one that we're looking forward to.
It's so nice to see you've got a lot of nice new recruits coming through, Matt. It could be a really exciting season for you all.
No, Jim and I discussed that the other day and said the same thing. If they're up to winning novice hurdles,
Yes.
very exciting. If they all need a handicap mark, it's going to be a slow burner, isn't it? But
Yeah, absolutely. I had a look through and I've actually had to leave a couple off the list because I didn't want to sort of take up your time. But there's a lot more as well. I advise everyone to keep up with Kim and Matt's blog as well on the website. It's really informative. I actually get up every morning and have a look straight away and just sort of see what's on there. So it's a really good read. Matt, something I like to ask every trainer that I do have on. It's the dreaded question. Can I have a horse to follow for my viewers? Now, this doesn't have to be the horse that you think is going to turn out to be the best, but one that we can enjoy having a follow through the season. You might pick up a win here and there, and more for the enjoyment. Who could we look forward to?
so if you'd have asked me if I'd have been on 2 weeks ago, I'd have said really and truthfully. But he's already come out and won, so his handicap mark's on the move already. I won't give you him. A horse that I like and think has physically improved an awful lot is called See To It.
Yes.
He went off favourite for a Cheltenham bumper last year, but that didn't really work out. And then he got a bit lost in a couple of novice hurdles, but he was quite weak and quite backwards. Now he got a mark of 108, which I thought was plenty high enough on what he'd achieved. However, I do feel he's an improved horse this winter, and now he's at his level with his handicap mark. I think he could be one that progresses up the ranks a little bit.
Excellent. Excuse me, I've forgotten the owner, but it's the two-tone colours, and you got the yellow.
David, Julie Martin, and Dan Hall.
That's
Been really,
perfect.
really, really good owners for us. They had good horses, Charbel, Ajir.
Yes, of
They've
course.
also got Salt Rock, who will be back later in the season. He's had a little bit of a setback, but he started to look progressive last year. He had a bit of a setback in the summer, so he won't be back till the second half of the winter. But they've been really good owners for us over the years. They had a Cheltenham Festival winner in Dana, and good people who have been really loyal and supportive of us.
Matt, that is great. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time, and I genuinely mean this. It's great to see that you've got so many nice recruits coming through, especially after, Chianti's now just been retired. You've got a lovely crop of horses. So you're definitely going to go out there and do some battle really nicely. So, Matt, I appreciate your time very much today. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure, Joe. Good talking to you.
Thank you so much. And thanks everyone that's tuned in. I really do hope you enjoyed that. And like I said, please do keep an eye on Kim and Matt's blog over on the website. It's really, really intriguing. I'll actually pop the link in the description below. And thanks everyone that's tuning in. Got plenty more of these to come. If you can like and subscribe, it's free to do. Just supports the channel. And I appreciate you all for tuning in. Thank you very much. And we'll see you all real soon.